Okay, good greetings to all and sundry. Chancellor North Wales here. What this video is about? Well, I'm going to start with a quick thank you for all the feedback, responses, comments about the MiG-15 build. Very much appreciated. I was surprised that my smallest aircraft elicited such a response. Anyway, glad you guys appreciated and enjoyed the video. Thank you. Second thing is a project update. Now, as many of you know, I often tend to do a model, do a war games project, that side of thing, take that general approach. However, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm fairly up to date in my perspective in terms of my war games projects. I'm not going to start another fleet for dystopian wars in the immediate future, so I'm going from the MiG build to another modelling project. In this case, I've decided now is maybe as good a time as any to crack on with what I was planning as my large build of the year. And in this case, it's a double build, in that I'm building the same helicopter, two kits from two different manufacturers, and trying to produce models with two different perspectives. So the subject in question is the Kamov 29 Helix, and I'm working on the Revell and Hobby Boss kits simultaneously. Now, I'll admit, a machine like the Helix isn't what you would describe as the sexiest of aircraft. Quite frankly, it reminds me of a delivery van with rotor blades. But it's an interesting subject. I like it because it's a fleet workhorse. So that's partly for the choice. Its lack of not being a particularly flashy subject has its own appeal. So what are we aiming to do with this kit? Well, the Revell kit is the Revell version of it is quite definitely the older of the two kits. And so what I've decided to do is to build the Hobby Boss kit in a flight ready condition, and the Revell kit in a stowed condition with the doors open. The reason I've taken this approach, and why I've done this with the Revell kit, is due to the nature of the mouldings. Now, these are the Revell fuselage halves, and as you can see, particularly around here, the panel line detail around the hatch is exceedingly pronounced. It's basically so wide that I could easily get a craft knife blade into there to open it out. So I was able to open up the forward door, remove that, and do so with the main doors on the aft on the other side. In scale terms, looking at this, I would say that the Revell have done it. On a real aircraft, you would have been able to easily fit your hand inside that gap, which I think will put anybody off flying, but that's another matter. So that's why I've decided to do it. The irony is that the Revell kit has absolutely no cabin detail, so all of this is going to have to be scratch built. Now, the doors that I've taken off are currently in this state, and they will be sanded down further and have internal detail added to them. I have spent quite a few nights having a long rummage on the internet trying to find cabin images of the Kamov 29. Not to much avail, and that has included digging around numerous Russian websites. Given that I don't speak Russian and my grasp of Cyrillic is somewhat limited, it's been an entertaining experience, but you slowly begin to recognize certain words. And to be honest with you, I've found it exceedingly difficult to find any pictures of the cabin. Found a few cockpit images, and even on Camel's own website, there's no interior pics of the 29. I found some of the AEW version, but in that case the cabin is absolutely stuffed with electronic racking. So really, it's an indicator, yeah, fair enough, of the style and of the approach, the colours used, and that side of it. But really, in terms of the assault and troop transport version of 29, it's been a difficult one to find. But nonetheless, we're pressing ahead with that. So far, and I better explain now, this video is a discussion. It's not going to replace the normal photographic video. I compile them, I track them, the photographs are still being taken, but because this is going to be a longer build, and my normal goal of delivering one build video a month, I think it's going to be difficult to achieve on this. Bear in mind, I've still got life, job and everything else, plenty of other things I need to do, that it's unlikely that this is going to be done in a month from the completion of my previous project. So I'm hoping that a few update vids like this will keep the interest before the final photographic collation vid. Anyway, one of the key things I found when scratch building is the whole issue of its trim, fit, refit, test fit, and the alignment of the Revell kit's fuselage halves has proven to be a bit ropey. So I started off by fitting some fairly hefty alignment tags, and you can also see in there the location for the floor panel, which was originally patterned from the Hobby Boss kit one, and then trimmed to size. The thickness of the plastic and the finish of the interior plastic on the Revell kit is a bit ropey, so that's going to have to be panelled out on the inside. And considering that Russian helicopters tend not to be as resplendent in noise insulation as their Western counterparts, there'll probably be some fuselage, former frame, and longitudinal stringer detail, which will be deduced from the rivet lines on the outside. The area that I'll be taking serious guesswork at will be cable runs, junction boxes, fire extinguishers, first aid kits, and to a lesser extent the seating arrangement, because there's seats on the Hobby Boss kit which I'll be copying and putting in there, but also the arrangement of the seat belts, details like that. Also, no images whatsoever of the cabin ceiling, but you're going to probably have jacking connections for headphones, access panels, maybe some sound insulation there. All of that is going to be scratch built predominantly from plastic card, cut into strips forms and other such things. So really that's outline of what we're aiming to do. Also expanding upon this subject of two different perspectives on the model. One of the great things about helicopters is that you've got nice big doorways. It's easy to see what they're inside. They're often extensively glazed. They invite being peered into, and you can open up sliding doors and create a nice subject. Aircraft, because of the need for, they operate at higher speeds, their designs are far more geared around drag reduction. If you look at a helicopter up close, you'll often see raised riveting. On an aircraft it's going to be predominantly, and I say predominantly, I've seen plenty of prop jobs where it's raised riveting, but they tend to be the tendency tends to be much more towards flush riveting. Anyway, therefore with an aircraft subject, quite often if you leave doors open, in my mind it spoils the look of it. That's why with fighters, particularly those with canopies that hinge upwards to the aft, I like to do them closed up for that reason. It just doesn't sit right. You know, if something's going to be cracking along at Mach 2, even when it stood still, you want it to look fast. And an open hatchway does rather, an open canopy does, in my mind, rather kill that perspective. Helicopter chugging along at 200 knots, you can leave it with the door open. The other aspect with this Revell kit will be that I'll be aiming to put on the intake covers, pitot tube covers, the flags, tags, and other elements. And I'll also be, hopefully, attempting to do the rotor blades in a folded condition as well. So a lot of fiddling about with it, and I think the Revell kit is not such a good kit. I'm happy to hack away at it with more abandon. The Hobby Boss kit, on the other hand, will be built in what we describe as the flight ready condition. Possibly the cockpit sliding doors open, but pretty much sitting there waiting for the crew to get ready for the crew to get in and head off on a sortie. The truth of the matter is the Hobby Boss kit is a lovely kit. The detail on the main fuselage sprue is very restrained, as I found with previous Hobby Boss kits. The quality of the fit, just from a couple of test fits I've done of some interior components, is exceedingly good, and it's nicely refined. It has a degree of cabin detail, but even then I'll add a bit, just so that I don't like the absence of the cabin ceiling. Particularly still do the interior, because when you look through the cockpit glazing, you won't be able to see down in the fuselage, and still has to give an impression. It won't be detailed up to the same level as the Revell kit though. Other example of sprue containing some of the weapons, sponsons, landing gear. As can be seen, lovely level of detail, nice crisp mouldings, utterly flash free. And the other aspect is they are exceedingly generous with the ordnance and weapon systems. 2 very full sprues. Oops. Covering a wide variety, which will leave me with plenty by way of spares. I've got an idea of what loadout I'll be using on them. The Revell kit may well be ordnance free. One area that I think the Hobby Boss kit is let down is the absence of any significant detail on the instrument panel. Whereas the Revell kit has both raised panel detail and a set of decals. So what I did there was photocopy the Revell decals, and I will be cutting them out of the sheet of paper, laying them onto the Hobby Boss instrument panel, and that, by nature of the thickness of the paper, will create a slightly raised instrumentation impression. I think both cockpits will need things like headphones, maybe a crew helmet, something like that, and the obligatory masking tape, seat belts added to it to enliven the front offices. All of this, as I said, I'll be taking photographs and keeping a track. On the subject of doing the same kit from two perspectives, one thing I found when doing my subject research, digging through the photos, is our Russian colleagues tend to, and I get the impression of, have numerous small museums, collections around the country with the retired warbirds sitting outside, and it gives you a good indication of this process of decay, of deterioration, of weathering, of fading. And so in an area where I might apply this idea is I have a couple of kits of the Sukhoi Su-21F wagon, a single-seater and a two-seater, and I'm seriously thinking of, when I do get to doing them, that one will be flight ready and the other one will be basically in a retired condition, just for the pleasure of the weathering and of creating contrast. My first time I actually did this was with the Frogfoot, which that came about more by accident, because during the earlier stage of the build I managed to lose the canopy, so I've which rather killed my intention of doing it in the traditional flight ready condition. What I then did was, sorry for that slight pause. At that moment my eldest daughter came in, stormed in to make an announcement about something entertaining was happening during the baking process. What entirely was entertaining is another matter, but where were we? We're talking about the Frogfoot here. As I said, I managed to mislay the canopy, so ended up bodging something to create the shape underneath it, and then it was a case of canvas cover, all the rest of it with a canvas cover. Okay, let's tone it down, use the Tamiya weathering powders, and then, must admit, I was quite pleased with the end result. Certainly more interesting than the traditional flight ready perspective. So that was really covering this subject of two different perspectives on the same subject. So where will I be going next with this build? One thing I don't currently have is the necessary paint for the exterior, so next week I have one of my few week offs, so I will be having a rummage around the model shop in order to find the suitable tones and shades for the camo. So that really covers the update issue. Just a quick note to say, been enjoying following the builds. Some great projects going on out there, especially the PT boat build. I apologise, I didn't make notes on the chap who's posting that. Crikey, complete memory loss now. Anyway, McHale's, the chap doing the McHale's Navy PT boat build, really enjoying following that one. I like the thematic nature of it, and how you're looking at the TV series. That is, in my mind, a particularly enjoyable and fascinating project to follow. So just to wrap up now, keep posting the vids, I am watching a lot of it, but one thing I'm finding right now is due to the broadband speeds, the high definition videos are proving quite difficult to watch. So a 15-minute video will take half an hour to run, with numerous pauses and the such like. That I appreciate is down to the data entry. Sometimes I end up posting a comment before I've seen the entire video, because it's just getting so frustrating with all the broadband lag. But hopefully the lower resolution of this particular product, this particular output, might make this a little bit easier to watch. Here in rural Wales, broadband speeds aren't quite what they are, and I'm quite sure, I get a feeling that those viewers in larger urban conurbations tend to have the higher speeds. Anyway, slight aside there. So guys, please keep the videos coming, and as this build progresses, there'll be a few more updates. Thank you.